Hey team, welcome back to another episode with HUMN. Today, Ella and I are going to break down some running drills that you can use to make your running style more efficient. Today, the two running tips we're going to look at is posture in the upper body and foot strike under the body. Now, what I mean by posture in the upper body is that we're leaning forward on a slight 45. Now, what this is going to do is it's going to allow us to carry our momentum forward into our run rather than leaning back away from the direction that we want to be running. So Ella, if you could give us a little demo of running two upright first. So at the moment, she's running two upright, her feet are landing in front of her body and she's not really generating that much forward momentum. So if we then transfer that into a slight forward lean where we're trying to get our hips in front, our chest in front of our hips, we've got a much more efficient and economical running stride there. Rest up. The second tip, we're going to look at where your foot strike is. So if you're running and your foot strike is landing in front of your body, it's essentially a brake pad because you're landing and stopping your momentum every single time. So we want to combine these two tips together, slight forward lean, which is creating forward momentum, and we want to propel our body into that forward momentum by striking our foot under the hip so we can continue forward. So Ella this time is going to lean forward just in front of her hips and she's going to make sure that she's striking the ground underneath her hip rather than in front of it. Strike the ground underneath the body. Perfect. Last little bonus tip, and this one can change from person to person, but when you're running, especially if you're already fatigued, you want to try and limit as much other external movement as you can. So a lot of the time when people are running, their limbs are moving one way, but their torso starts to move the other way. So what we're going to try and do is be moving forward in one plane. So our legs and our arms are going to be moving together rather than having our legs and arms moving and our torso rotating as well. So Ella's going to try and concentrate on keeping this midsection of her body and her core engaged, but straight, rather than turning the shoulders as she runs. Beautiful. So team, bringing this all back together, these tips are going to help you become more efficient, but what we've got to remember is if we're trying to be more efficient within a race like High Rocks, pacing is also important. So what I would recommend is that you always start a little bit slower than what you think you can manage so that you can always increase your pace and get faster rather than starting too fast and seeing a fast decline in your technique, but your effort as well. Now, this might look a bit funny, but bear with me. One of the first coaching tips we talked about was having a slight forward lean with your run. So we can actually practice that with some in-place running with a band to support our body weight so we have the confidence to lean forward into it, all right? So if you haven't got a strong, muscly partner like Ella does, you can fix this to a squat rack in the gym, all right? So something that's fixed in place, a firm object, you can tie the band to it, loop it around your waist. You want it to sit just under the bony part of your hip so you're supported, but you can have a slight forward lean. So in a second, I'm gonna take the weight of this, Ella's gonna have a slight lean and she's gonna run in place. Off you go. So she's got a slight forward lean and she's practicing that momentum just being in front of the hips rather than behind the hips, and relax. Okay, our second drill that we're going to use is a common warm-up drill called the A-skip. Now the A-skip teaches coordination, but it also teaches the foot strike under the body. So I'm going to try and describe this as best as possible, and then Ella's going to show us how you can replicate the skill. So the A-skip is an in-place skip where we're bringing a high knee up and then driving it down into the ground under the body. So you want to think about the floor moving beneath you, and that strike is just going to propel you up off the ground just in time for your other foot to swap places. So Ella's going to demonstrate. So it starts with a high knee and almost a bounce off the ground. So you're concentrating on pulling the high knee up, striking the ground under the body, and moving into the next rep. Perfect. This movement can be done on the spot, but you can then also translate it into moving forward, and it gives you a great chance to practice striking the foot under the body and being a little bit more dynamic off the ground.
After all that running, I'm pretty exhausted, don't know about you, but it is time for us to go. If you like what you've watched today, then please head over to our YouTube channel, subscribe, watch the other videos. We've got loads of content out there. We look forward to seeing you soon.